Believe it or not, you're actually looking at Linux Mint Cinnamon Edition 19.2 with Cairo Dock installed. We've tweaked it up, we've made it a bit fancy, we've made it show off just for the intro here. If you like what you're looking at, stick around. I'm going to show you how to build your system up so you can have a Cinnamon desktop that looks like that. As you can see, we're on the 19.2 Cinnamon Edition here, and we're going to install Cairo Dock. I'm going to do that using the software manager. We're going to type Cairo, and there it is, it's popped straight up. So we'll click on that and we'll click install. And want some extras, these are mostly the plugins and that sort of thing, so we'll continue and do the old password trick for Linux again. While that's happening, we're going to modify the panel. We're going to move it to the top, and then we're going to put it on auto hide, and that will just make a little bit more space on the desktop for us, as we'll be using the Cairo Dock pretty much as our main interface. And if we want something that it's not available with, we'll pop up the top here and activate our menu to get it that way. I'm also going to change the desktop background just to something a little bit lighter to be able to see the dock when it gets there. So there we go, it's all installed. Our desktop's ready, set up, ready to go for us. We go to the menu and we type Cairo, and there it is, Cairo Dock. Click on that. We get this little pop-up. This is to do with OpenGL, and whether it's using your hardware acceleration or your CPU to do all the animations and so forth that are available in Cairo Dock. I recommend you say yes, but don't remember this choice. Don't tick that box, at least for a few days, maybe a week. At least make sure that the Cairo Dock's working okay on your system. Down the bottom here, the last line, we can see it's got -O flag to force OpenGL, or -C to force Cairo. So -O is effectively saying yes, and -C is effectively saying no. So as I say, I recommend you say yes. If you have problems, restart Cairo Dock and take no and see if you still have the problems or if they go away until you work out which one works for you. Meantime, we're going to have a little bit of a work around here. So I'll just leave that on the screen for now. We go to the menu and we type Start. There's our Startup Applications. And we click the little plus sign down the bottom and choose Application. And there is Cairo Dock, so we're going to add that application. There it is. We'll double click that. And back to this little pop-up message that we got earlier when Cairo was starting. -O or -C, so we're going to choose -O for yes, and that goes in this section here where it says command, and it's all lowercase, Cairo -dock, so we just click in at the end of dock, hit the space bar once, the dash and the letter O, lowercase o, and we'll save that, and that's good to go. We'll add it to the shortcut to that icon there, and to do that we'll right click on the menu and we'll go to configure, menu, open the menu editor, and Cairo Dock's in administration. There it is there, so let's double click on it, and same thing where it says command, we're just going to click in there, hit the space bar once, -O, and we're done. So we can close out of all that now, and in future when we start the computer it'll automatically run Cairo Dock because of what we put into the auto start, or if we start it manually through our menu it will also start without asking this question here. once you're happy it's all running and hitting yes, hitting no, or whatever you're happy with that, you can remember the choice. You can go back, you can undo what we just did there if you want to, or you don't even have to do that at all. That's just, I'm just showing you the stuff that I know about it. So let's get on with starting Cairo. We're going to select yes, and there's Cairo Dock. I'm going to quickly go in and just make it look a little bit bigger, and we'll come back around. We'll cover all this a little bit later on, but this is just to make a little bit easier to see the icons, etc. So there you go, I've just made it as big as I can make it. The next thing you're probably going to want to do is tweak it up, make it look a little bit prettier than that. It's a little bit bland in my opinion, but you might like it. So that's what we're going to do now. I'll begin with this little, there's a part of it over here in the left hand corner. We're going to right click on that, and it's called the switcher. So when you right click, it's the top option is always Cairo Dock. Next option is whatever you've clicked on, in this case called the switcher, and we're going to come across to the right where it says return to the dock, and there it is there, returned to the dock. So let's do a little bit of work on the dock. So we'll right click in it, and we'll go to configure, and this is the tool that I used a moment ago to make the icons a bit bigger. We'll go to current items, and if we open this little list up here, that's currently what's on there. If we go to add-ons, we can select and deselect these that we want. So we'll run through some of these. I'm going to get rid of some of them and add a few. So we'll just go down through the list here. You see a whole heap of stuff's disappeared from the dock. I'm now going to start adding a few. I'm going to add the clock and the weather and sound control, and down the bottom here impulse. This is just for some fun a bit later on. I'll show you what that's about when we get to it. There we go. I'm a bit happier with that now. We'll go back to current items and control from keyboard. You can look into that. I'm not going to go through it here. I don't use it. I've never touched it, so I'm just going to remove that item by right clicking on it. And now I'm going to open up the little list here, the bottom dock. This is what's currently on it. I also don't want this on it. So you can drag stuff off it. So if I grab hold of that, I can just drag that off. And if we go back in here, it should be gone, and it is. Or we could have right clicked it and removed it from there. There's plenty of ways of changing the look of the dock and adding and removing things to it, as you might imagine. We can just click and drag. So for example, I want the logout over on the left next to the menu. And I like the switch, the workspace switcher. I like to have that over near the right here somewhere. And I like the volume right there. It doesn't matter, you can put stuff pretty much anywhere you want. Show desktop, I like to put that over here somewhere. And that's not bad. However, there's a few things missing. One of the easiest ways to add launches to the dock is to actually start the application. So I'm going to just click on the files from the panel, and here it is, it's running. So now we can right click on it, we go to files and make it a launcher. And now it's a launcher. So if I close that, there it is there, it's still on the dock, and if I hit it, it starts files. And hit a center mouse button, or push the mouse wheel down closes. So one left click to open, one mouse wheel down to close. On some distros, you can't do it on Cinnamon, but for example, if we looked for VLC, because I want VLC on there as well, on my Mate system, with the Mate desktop obviously, I can actually just drag out of there straight onto the dock. But as you can see, you can't do that in Cinnamon. And I actually tested, you can't even drag onto the desktop in Cinnamon either. So that's probably unique to Cinnamon for whatever reason. So One of the easiest ways to get other launchers there or applications onto the dock is to drag them out of the menu if that works on your system. Next easiest way is probably to start them and then right click the icon when it turns up. You can also, which we'll go and do now, through the file manager, if you go to file system, and then there should be a folder called USR or user as most people refer to it. We open that, and there's one called share, we open that, and there's another one in here called applications, so we'll open that. And I actually like to go to bookmarks and add bookmarks, and there it is now. We've got a nice shortcut there. It's pretty handy when you're first setting up the dock. You'll think of something, you'll remember something else that you want down there, and you can just click on there and drag it straight on. So let's look for VLC, and here it is here, and we're going to just drag VLC from applications straight onto the dock like so, and we'll have a click on it, see if it works. Indeed it does, so we'll run with that, and we'll mouse wheel down, closes, one left click opens. Looks like we're all good to go there. We'll try another one. Not all of these work just because you can drag one from the menu, or you can start an application and right click it and add it as a launcher, or drag something out of here. It doesn't always work for all applications. For example, there's another one, a little notepad I like, is called Xpad. I actually installed that onto this system, so let's just drag that down. That one works, and when we click on it, there it is. There's the notes that I've made in it before. So that one works as well. It can be a bit hit and miss. Cairo Dock hasn't really been developed for some years now. However, it's still fairly functional and works pretty good. So if you're happy to go with that, we'll keep going here. There's another one. We'll drag the calculator down. We'll see how we go with that. Calculator seems to work. We give it a click. We're all good. Well, at this stage, I'm happy with the amount of icons, launches and so forth that we've got there. So we'll go back into the utility. We'll begin to work our way through this. So there's our current items. Our add-ons, we've removed and added the stuff that we wanted from there. Now to go to this configuration tab. This is basically, you could think of this as the overall configuration or global configuration for the dock. You can see position on screen is bottom. That's fairly self-explanatory. Visibility of the dock. Hide the dock whenever it overlaps a window. So if we come down here, you can see it fades out, and there it is. The option is, the effect used to hide the dock is to fade out. So let's change that to zoom out and apply it. And now it has a different effect. It zooms out. We don't have any sub docks here. I'm not going to touch on that. So this will be obviously how they appear on mouse over. So if you had a sub dock over here, you can make them appear on click or on mouse over. The behavior of the taskbar, which is actually the dock. So let's just start files, for example. We've got files running. If we click on it again, it'll minimize. If we go up here, we can see there's files running and there's Cairo Dock running. So the behavior is currently integrated. That's the default. If we choose none and apply that, and you'll watch some of these icons will move around a little bit, and the little white specks will be removed. The little white dot just shows you that that's actually running, even though you might not be able to see it on the screen. So let's apply that. And there they go. They've just disappeared. They're still running. We can see them up on the panel. We've got no indication from the dock that they're running. So the dock's sort of just become a launcher, just a basic launcher now. So there's minimalistic. I'm not sure exactly what all of the different ones do here, how far they go. Minimalistic is still giving us a bit of a look there at what's running, but we can't actually see the Cairo Dock utility up here, I can see it in the desktop switcher, but I can't actually see it on the dock. So we'll go back to integrated, we'll apply that, and now it's turned back up in there. Place new icons. Here it's set to after the launches. So if we were to go back to add-ons and select one of these, you can see it gets placed after all the launches. So that's all that's about there. Down the bottom is animations. So currently on mouse hover, the animation is pulse. So we'll hover over something. It gives off a bit of a pulse, like so. And if we click on something, you'll see it'll bounce. Does a little bounce. There's also some other effects over to the right. So you can obviously go through there and pick something else that you want out of there. For example, rotate. So we'll apply that. We'll see what happens now. Quite a bit different effect. It's actually my favourite effect, that one, but we'll put that back to what was it, pulse. We'll put it back to the default. We'll reapply that. There they are, they're giving off a little pulse. Now these other effects that are currently not available, if we look on the far left hand side, it says advanced mode, so we'll click on that. And this is the advanced mode for Cairo Dock. Most of what you're going to want to do most of the time will actually be in the simple mode, but for this particular one, to get those other effects, we have to come in here, and this is the one we're after, is icon effects. So if we click on there, we can see down the bottom left hand corner, enable this module, or if we go back, all we've done there is gone from all categories to the appearance category. We could actually enable it just by selecting there. So now when we go into that, we can see that it's enabled. So if we go back into simple mode, and now that menu's opened up a little bit for us there. So there's extra effects. So on mouse hover, there's an animation, there's also an effect. So let's have a look what we've got. We'll run with fire for the moment. So on mouse hover, we should get a pulse and fire, like so. And if we click on something, we should get a bounce and stars. So it should bounce, and there's some stars around. I'll change the stars up to something else that you can see a little bit better, like snow. And we'll come back down here. We'll click on it, you can see it starts snowing as well. So you can have hours and hours of fun there. Where it says down here fade out, it's on appearance, disappearance. So for example, Cairo Dock's not actually on the dock, it's just an icon showing while we're running the application. And just out of interest, you can't actually make this one, if you right click it and make it a launcher, it won't actually open this utility up, it'll actually just launch another instance of Cairo Dock. It sort of puts a bit of a circular reference on itself. It's a little bit annoying because especially when you first run it and you're setting it up, you seem to be shutting it down and restarting it, and it'd be handy to have one little launcher here for it, but I don't know if there's one in the applications. There's one there. Let's try and drag that. I've never actually done that. So we'll do that. We'll close out of everything here. There you go. It's going to launch another instance, so if we hit yes, there will be another dock behind this one. You can't see it there, but I'm going to right click, go Cairo Dock, quit. I'm going to quit Cairo Dock, and as you can see, there's still another one. If I do that again, Cairo Dock, quit, and hit the check mark, you can see Cairo Dock's gone now. So there was two there, even though you couldn't see it, simply because it was behind the other one. So we didn't get asked the question that time. We may as well remove this because it's not working for us on there as I expected. And again, we're just going to have to right click the dock, go to Cairo Dock, configure, and here we are back. I don't actually know another way of getting there other than that, so it's just something you're going to have to bear with, I guess, at the very beginning here. Moving right along, so that's our global configuration there as far as behaviour goes. We've got another tab up the top called Appearance. So we can see currently the style is set to custom. So as an example there, if we go in to our settings manager and we'll go to themes, we'll just make a major change here to the theme. Everything goes dark, but the dock has actually stayed the same. So if we go back here and make that light again, the dock's unchanged because it's on custom. If you put it on system and apply, you can see it's now sort of gone fairly white like the system is. And now if we come in here and make everything dark, it follows along with the system theme. So that will depend on which way you want to go there. That's basically what it does. If you're on custom, such as we were, we'll apply that. You can also change its background colour here. So if you wanted a nice green colour like that and apply it, there you go. So I think we'll just set that back to the default there and reselect it and reapply it. The icons is currently, it's saying custom icons, so it's pretty much using the system ones, or for the theme that we're currently on. And I guess some of them are probably a little bit different, so you can obviously go in there and play to your heart's content. And the size is very big. If we go very small and apply that, you'll see that would have made it a bit difficult to show you what's going on with the video. I think medium was the default, so go back to very big for the demonstration. And the last one, probably the most important one here, is views. So currently it's at default, and we get a bit of a window here showing us a preview of roughly what it looks like. So we change that to panel. You can see it looks something like that. If we apply that, we get that effect. We'll have a look. It's parabolic. We'll apply that. Yep, good luck with that one. Rainbow, we can apply that. And we'll just bring this down. You can see it doesn't fade out until right near the bottom there, but you'll work all that out for yourself once you start playing around with it. Slide, basically like that. That's slide. And if we click on the, gives an interesting experience when you move the mouse over it. So we'll just bring up Cairo Dock again. I'm actually going to go with 3D plane and apply that. There we go. It's gone from a flat background to a plane drifting away into the sunset, as they say. So that's our global configuration. I'm happy currently with the way the dock looks and works. Its behaviour and its appearance is all rather pleasing to me at this stage. There's one thing that I don't particularly like about it at the moment, is the clock. I find a little bit hard. It's not too bad here, but on my own system it's extremely difficult to read. And I've actually dragged the clock off the dock over into this right hand corner. I'm actually just going to drag the clock off like that, and there it is. And if we now go into current items, and there's the clock. If we click on it, we can see all its properties have turned up, so we'll work our way through some of those. There's not much to change in the icon, so whether you want to do this or not, you can skip forward on the video if you're happy to see it on the dock, but this is what I've done myself, so I'm just going to show how I did it. We come into Desklet. The decorations is none. So when I apply that, you should see that dark background disappear. So I'll apply that. So that's the decorations is none, or that's what I run on my system. We'll open these other menus up. You can see here it's detached from the dock is selected. So if I actually unselect that and apply it, you see it runs back into the dock. And same thing, so you can either drag it off like I did a moment ago, or if we select that and hit apply, it'll go off. It might not go there, it could go behind the panel thing that you're working on here, could end up anywhere. It's gone back to roughly where we put it before. Visibility is normal. You could have it keep above, so if we select that for example, and now it'll stay above this window. When I come down, you watch the dock will disappear. It gets out of the way, but the clock's going to stay above if you want that effect. Sorry, that's not the decoration's not the one, it's invisibility. Keep above, we'll put that back to normal so you can work your way through there. Apply that, so now it'll go behind this and the dock will disappear. We'll go to position, we'll make it a little bit bigger, we'll go up here to about, I don't know, 130 or something like that. And we'll apply that. You'll see it'll all start to take shape in a moment. It might look a bit big and bulbous there, but we'll work our way through it. I think we're just about done in here for the moment, are we? We'll go to the next tab, configuration. Show the date. So it's actually showing the date on the label at the moment. I'm going to change that to on icon. And you'll see it'll change quite a bit in a moment. There we go, we can barely read it now, it's gone very small. And again, you can select 24 or 12 hour, I'm going to select 12, and I'm going to make it show the seconds. The style is currently digital, you can have analog if you want to look like that, but I'm going to stay with digital. And if we come down further, there's analog view or digital view, so we're going to open up digital view and have a bit of a look through the settings in here. The style is currently automatic. I'm going to select custom. I'll go for a dark text color just for the demonstration, so I'll apply that. And as this thing gets a little bit bigger, it should get easier to see. Again, unfortunately, we have to open these menus up every time we apply something. We're going to use a custom font, so I'm going to select that, and I'm going to pump it up to about 20. Select that, and I'll apply it so you can see it hasn't made much difference to it. So we'll work our way down a little bit further. Layout of the text is automatic. I'm going to change that to on two lines. On two lines, and this should just about be the final touch. There we go. Now I've got a decent sized clock with the date showing below it, and we can just drag that basically wherever we want. I'll just put it down in the bottom corner here somewhere. You can position that right at the very bottom, but most probably when you start your computer, it's going to find a default position, something like that. I don't have a workaround for that, so basically when I start my computer, I just have to drag that down a bit. That's not the end of the world. So there you go, now I've got a readable clock. We could still make that bigger by going back through the settings, but that's how I get that effect on my computer. So I thought I'll just show the stuff that I know here. There's another one, is when you go to log out, you'll hit the log out button and then you'll hit, for example, shut down, and it's still going to ask another question here. I figure by the time I've clicked on the icon, it's one click, and then made me selection to shut down or whatever is 2 clicks. By that stage I should know what I'm doing, hopefully. If not, I pay the penalty and have to restart the computer or lose my work, whatever the case. So we'll go into current items and we'll open up this and we'll go to the log out, and I'll just show you a little bit of this here. If we go through these menus, there is one here. This is it here, demand confirmation before closing. So I deselect that and I'll apply it. Obviously I can't hit it now, otherwise it's going to shut down, but if that's one click to open the menu. If I hit shut down, that'll actually shut down without asking, am I sure? And there might be, that option might be available for other actions and so forth there. As I say, these are just the ones that I know and use myself. I can't show you anything I don't know. Another one is the weather, so we'll come down to the weather. And now its properties have turned up. So we'll come across here, go to configuration. We can see it's currently in France. And we're going to set your location. So I'm going to type in there Melbourne and press enter. And we can see we've got a number of options. You can see the code for the location for France is FR, probably stands for France. And then XX0076, and we can see it's a little bit different for Australia. It's ASXX, so we'll select that one there. Obviously you take this one here if you're in Melbourne in Florida. I presume that's where that is, or in Canada. Melbourne's all over the place here, but this is the one I'm closest to. I'll select that. There we go. You can also, so let's apply that. We'll probably see France is showing 12 degrees. The weather's almost identical here today. So let's apply that. I think that is showing my weather actually. Oh no, that has changed a little bit. It's updated. And that's roughly what we've got here at the moment. You can also change the view for it, obviously. So there, it's currently on classic, and you get a bit of a preview there. We'll just have a look. That's clear. We'll run with that. I'll apply that. We'll have a look. The dock's frozen at the moment because it's updating. Hopefully it'll come back. There we go. It just took a moment to refresh itself. And now we've got some different looking icons in there. You can also come back, I think, here, the city name. So if you didn't want it to show Melbourne, you could just put Victoria, for example, in there. And we'll apply that. And now I think when we hover over it, it says Victoria rather than Melbourne. So if you wanted to call it something different than your actual location, there's your means. It'll probably show Melbourne now, to guess. Yeah, Melbourne, Victoria, Australia. It's actually showing what's in here. So that's that, and obviously you can do plenty of other stuff there. There's other selections. Again, you could detach it from the dock if you wanted to do that, but I'm quite happy to leave it there myself, so we'll leave it well enough. This last icon I added here is called the stack. I don't think it works on Cinnamon, but if you're on the Mate desktop, I don't know if it works on later editions than mine, but I use it, so I'll just close that down for the moment. If I add I'm just going to add a file, so in documents, just going to create a new document. So it'll be just doc.text. Just a simple text document. Like so. Oh, there we go, we'll just save that. And I don't know if it works in Cinnamon, let's find out. You can drag things into the stack. I don't think that worked. Oh, there it is. Let's see if it works. No. Usually what it does, if there's a document you're working on like that one there, you drag it into the stack. And as you can see, if I just hover over, it pops everything up that's in there. And then usually a single click will actually fire that up. But it's not working here. I don't know if it's going to work on other distros. It does work on my earlier. I've got an 18.1 Mate desktop, and it works a treat on there. So it doesn't work here. We might as well get rid of the stack. So I'll remove that. because it doesn't work. Now that we've got the dock all set up the way we think we like it, got our clock set up over here, we've changed the settings for the logout and whatever else we might want to do. If you come into the themes tab, so there's a whole heap of themes to choose from down the left hand side here. We're going to hit the save tab and we'll give it a name. We'll just call it Dock 1 just to give it a name. And we can see down here, save the current behaviour and save the current launches. They're both selected. You can also build a package of the theme, so I'm going to select that as well. And I'll put it just in the downloads directory, for example. And we'll hit apply. We'll let it do its thing here for a moment. Theme should be available in your home directory. If we open that up, downloads, there it is there, there's Dock 1. So you can copy that onto a USB drive or such, and if you ever need to rebuild your system, all you need to do is install Cairo Dock and go to load theme, and in here you just browse from there, you go back into Dock 1, and there it is. You'd have all these features and benefits up and running straight away. I'm just going to close out of there and we'll come back in. And we'll go back to themes. So if we look here now, there's our Dock 1 that we just saved, and there's a bit of a preview. It might be a bit hard to see on the video, but it looks apparent to me that that's about the same as what we're looking at on the actual screen. We'll just choose another one at random. We should get a preview here in a moment. That looks pretty. Let's try that. We'll apply it. You see there's a couple of options down the bottom. We're going to use the new theme's launches and its behaviour, and they're both selected by default. So some of those launches, such as VLC, might not be there, or our file launcher might not be there. I don't see VLC, but the file one looks like it's there. I've got some other stuff going on here. Got a clock up there. So you can see that's quite a bit different. You could remodify that and resave that as Dock 2, for example. I want to do something like that. It does give some pretty nice effects there, doesn't it? Anyway, enough of that. So I'm going to go back to Dock 1. You've seen how that basically works. And I'm going to apply Dock 1 again. And there we are, back to where we come from a few moments ago. We'll go to add-ons, and here it says get more applets. Now Cairo Dock hasn't been maintained for some time, and again I don't know how many of these are going to work, but clicking that get more applets brings us to their web page, starts the browser and brings us to their web page. So I'll show you how this works anyway. And these are all the applets here, so we'll just grab something at random, say web search. So we just actually click and drag straight onto the dock, and even though I'm placing it there, it'll turn up over near the speaker icon. We'll give it a moment. There is, because our setting is to place them after the launches. So once again, we can just drag that across over here somewhere if we want it there, like so. We'll do another one just so you get the idea. We'll use the quote of the day or whatever that is there. We'll drag that onto the dock. Pretty neat. You can drag straight off their website onto your dock, and there it is. It's placed that there for us. So that's how you can get some other extra bits and pieces on there. I don't know if they work. You'll have to investigate that yourself. I don't see any quotes showing up on the screen there, so probably not much of that stuff works now, but there you go. With the volume, you can see that if I roll my mouse wheel, if I hover over the icon, I can roll my mouse wheel, increase the volume and decrease just with the mouse wheel, or you can click on it and you can drag the little slider left and right like so. This other volume looking icon is called Impulse, and this is the one just for fun. I said I'd show you what that's about. I'll start some music. I won't play the video or the audio, but I'll show you how it works. Okay, I've got I've just got a video running off YouTube on the browser, and if we hit this now, Impulse, you see it gets a little music symbol turns up on it, and all the icons are jumping for joy there. So if we go back into the configuration utility and we go to current items, we'll come down to Impulse and we'll go to configuration for it, and here we can see it's currently set to bounce. We'll just change that. I like rotate. I think this is a pretty neat effect, so we'll apply that, and there you go, it does that. Now if you don't have these options here, or it doesn't work, it might be because you're not using OpenGL or some other factor. Once again, as this has not been developed in some time, and Cairo Dock was actually originally called Cairo Dock DE, or Desktop Environment, and you did get an option on some editions, depending on what desktop environment you're installing it on, to actually log into it. I'll close out of there, and if we want to stop that effect, we can just click on Impulse again until that music symbol disappears. That turns it back off. And I'll just stop the video on Firefox. We'll close a few of these things down. I'll probably shut Firefox down. And at this point I'm going to log off. And I don't know, log off, can't remember 100% whether it works on my system or not. I don't actually log off very often, so we'll see. There it goes, it did actually log us off. And you used to be able to click in here and select Cairo Dock. So we'll try that. You can see the icons change. I'm not sure what happens. Let's have a look at the Cinnamon desktop. Let's see what happens. No, it doesn't appear to log in, so we'll just go back to the Cinnamon default and we'll try logging back into that. Hopefully we can get back in. Normally you can click on a specific icon. For example, if we want to change the effect from this one here, currently I've got it set to that effect there, which is called Firework. Normally you could right click on them, go to Impulse and hit Edit, but nothing seems to happen other than it blinks the dock out. So unfortunately, for whatever reason, you're going to have to go into Cairo Dock and configure. And in this case, go to current items and find Impulse. There it is there. And change the settings from there. There's no right clicking and quickly coming in there. Got to go the long way around, but it still works pretty good. So that's just the way things are. Another icon that deserves a little bit of special attention is this one here called Music Player. If you click on that, you can choose the music player. Take Rhythm Box. And if we go into its properties, Cairo Dock Configure, current items, come down, click on Music Player. You can set play, pause, click and whatever on middle click. Unfortunately I don't have any music on this machine because it's a virtual machine, but rolling the mouse wheel usually goes up or down one track. I think a center click usually pauses. Set an animation when the songs change, information to display and so forth. So it's well worth coming in here and having a little bit of a look at that and setting it up the way that you want. A couple of other things we can see on the dock, there's these crosswalk looking dotted lines or boxes. You can actually right click on the dock and go to Cairo Dock and then add, and they're called Separators or Separator. So we'll click on that and we'll do another one over here. So right click, Cairo Dock, add, Separator, And there it is. And you can actually click on those and drag them around like so. If you want to set some system icons and your multimedia ones, your text document ones and so forth, set categories, you can do all that sort of stuff. It's all good. From time to time, Cairo Dock will freeze on me, on my particular system. Nothing will happen. You'll come down here. All the fancy effects have gone. It's locked up. You can't click on anything. If you go back up to your menu and find your system monitor and start that, and there it is, there's Cairo Dock. Do a right click on it and just kill. So we click on kill process, and close that, and then just come back into the menu and restart Cairo Dock. You should be good to go as well. There you go. There's a little bit of setting up Cairo Dock, some of the things you can make it do, some of the settings you can change. It's pretty complicated inside their utility here, simply because there's so many effects, so many options. Don't forget you've got that advanced mode there if you need to get over there and find something you can't find. Well, that's about all I know about Cairo Dock. Have fun installing it and setting it up, playing with it and getting effects like what I've got going on there. I'll see you on the next video.